MrBeast is the most famous blogger in the world and probably the richest. And it's common for every famous person that with more fame that you have, the more fans and haters you have. In the case of MrBeast, the haters are mostly cringeworthy. For example, one time the haters got angry because members of his team were smoking vape. Another time haters got also angry at that supposedly MrBeast helps girls out in his challenges and makes it difficult for the boys. People also got angry at the fact that MrBeast was using fake money in his videos, which is truly cringeworthy. But today I want to dissect MrBeast from a side which has not been talked about before. I went through a lot of information and found significant reasons for why MrBeast is hated on YouTube. So today I decided to show you that every coin has two sides, and today you will learn about the dark side of MrBeast. MrBeast, also known as Jimmy Donaldson, was born on the 7th of May 1998. MrBeast actually started out with sports. However, when he got injured, he had to give up on sports and he began making YouTube videos. First, he started filming Let's Plays. Then he moved on to making review videos with his friend, who has now changed his gender.
Hey Anthony.
He then slowly started posting challenges. At the beginning of his career, he got the most hype for the videos in which he would say or watch something 10,000 or 100,000 times. The views started growing fast, but when Jimmy's first major advertisement came, a brilliant scheme came into his head. He came up with the idea of reinvesting the money from advertising in that same video. He was paid $10,000, he gave it to a homeless person and it got crazy views. In the future, he combined the two most powerful formats together, challenges and charity. And it turned out to be a brilliant scheme. Advertisers get to promote their product to a huge audience in Jimmy's videos and also get a good reputation because Jimmy has an impeccable reputation, and they also act as philanthropists in his videos. This format was really brilliant, but since Jimmy didn't manage his finances well, he began to face financial problems because he didn't know how to manage his money. He was spending too much on his videos, and in the end he found himself a genius football manager who would take care of his problems. Since then they gained a huge number of very expensive contracts. For example, you might have noticed that in almost all of his videos the same car appears, and this isn't just a coincidence. This is an advertising contract. Jimmy also created his own product, which started to generate him huge sums of money, and of course with his views growing, advertisers started paying more and more money. The manager closed all his financial needs, and MrBeast began to scale his content and engage in much larger challenges.
And they're going to be competing for $250,000. Everyone, go to your cube! And unlike any of my past videos, these 100 people will decide themselves who deserves the 250 grand.
A very important point is that MrBeast was not making videos alone all the time. At first he made videos with his friend Chris Tyson, and sometimes some participants in the videos especially stood out and were liked by the public. The viewers wrote about this in the comments, and in the end, these guys were also taken into the MrBeast team. And MrBeast team, like any other team, the members involved in the team are one way or another associated with him. And an interesting point is that the entire MrBeast team is hated. Chris Tyson is probably the most hated person on the team. This is because he used to say some extremely bad things. I love how in America we can literally tell people to kill themselves, but if we say the N-word in a non-derogatory way, it can end careers. Here is another meme which was met with a lot of disgust, but the main reason why people started to hate him a lot was when he decided to change his gender. I don't see a problem in this. At the end of the day, it's his life. For me personally, the main problem is that he had a son and a wife who he left because of him changing his gender, and this is just very irresponsible in my opinion. Now, because of Chris, MrBeast found himself in a situation where no one seemed to like Chris, but he couldn't kick him out because, well, in America everyone there is tolerant, and if you kick out a transgender person out of your team, well, to put it mildly, you will be screwed. The next very famous MrBeast team member is Karl Jacobs. This guy, I honestly didn't know what he was hated for until I dug up some information. The first thing he's hated for is for painting his nails. Karl also in his school days was a fan of a Twitch streamer who also expressed extremely racist views. He found him in one of his streams, walked with him and took a photo. The most interesting thing is that since then, Karl and Ice Poseidon have completely changed. They have already apologized a million times for everything. Next up we have Chandler, who is also a very known member of MrBeast's crew, and people hate him because he created his own NFT, and NFT at the time was known for the fact that it was a scam, even though he did everything honestly, but it was as if everyone didn't care and they hated him for it, saying that he would eventually cheat all his subscribers for money. But in the end he didn't cheat anyone. The project turned out to be honest. And finally we have Nolan Henson, who is another member of the MrBeast team, and the reason they hate him is is quite funny. They hate him because he just exists. It really sounds like absurdity. He's hated simply because he's a MrBeast teammate. And now we're going to dive into why MrBeast is hated. Let's start with some absurd things. Firstly, a very interesting fact is that MrBeast is involved in charity work. He even has a separate channel in which he really does charity work. And for those who don't know, in one of his videos he made wells in Africa. An Africa activist hated him for showing Africa as poor, as if someone doesn't know that Africa is poor. Maybe it's worth fixing the situation rather than persecuting those who are trying to help you, but okay, logic doesn't work here, I guess. And this isn't the first time. When he helped blind people, the same thing happened. Some American journalists criticized MrBeast for the fact that he doesn't manage his money in charity effectively enough. Just think about it, MrBeast having a lot of money, instead of buying himself some expensive houses, expensive yachts, cars, and showing it all off, he spends this money on content and also on charity, and it may be ineffective somewhere, but he's trying. He's showing that helping other people is good, inspiring a huge number of people around the world. And now let's move on to the really dark side of MrBeast, which raises many questions, especially in moral terms. Because MrBeast's income is not as clean as you might think. I don't know how often this happens, but Jimmy communicates with Logan Paul. Logan Paul is known as a crypto scammer. He launched his project, which in the end turned out to be a scam, and he deceived a huge number of people with money, and he ultimately did not return it. And MrBeast on a podcast with Logan Paul talked about how they committed some kind of monetary fraud.
So me and Logan both bought punks. You guys have probably seen on his Twitter that he bought a bunch of crypto punks at the same time, right? When Gary pulled us in that call.
Yep.
So there's like all these like very successful people in this call, and Gary's just like, everyone shut the fuck up. Here's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna do it right now. You're all gonna buy a bunch of crypto punks.
Are you guys hearing the words like coming out of this man's mouth? They're laughing about market manipulation. This is a crime if this was stocks.
So then I rolled the money into VFriends because Gary, same thing, called me. He's like, VFriends? I was like, I don't fucking know, but last time I made money, sure.
They literally agreed that they would invest in one project. They also made tweets about it so that the maximum number of people would invest in this project. And then when in this project, thanks to their fraud, prices rose to the skies, they simply took and transferred this money from this project to another project without telling the audience anything. So they basically just carried out fraud and manipulated their audience. Again, I repeat myself, I don't know how often Jimmy pulls off similar scheme, but why would a person who does everything only for people do something like that? Why does he communicate with Logan Paul? Write your theories down in the comments. And this is all for today, guys. I hope you liked the video. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. This will motivate me to make even better videos for you guys. Have a good rest of your day and bye!